Hello, hello, hello. It's time for episode 11 of Sheffield Eagles Memory. Excuse me a second here. That's better. There I can see the mic. Very simply, episode 11 is called The Unknown Aussie. Reason why it was like, who? Who's this? Who's this? At the time, Sheffield Eagles were signing. We had some known Aussies like Cliff Lyons and Mark Geyer had signed for the club, and Kiwi internationals Paul O'Kesney, Tiny Saloma, Sam Panapa, to know a few in the first few years. Now, towards the end of '88, beginning of 1989, there was an Aussie that came over to play for Bramley. And things weren't working out too well for him at Bramley. He wasn't happy, he didn't like it and everything. And Gary, he just saw that he wasn't happy. And Gary just thought, well, we need another Aussie. We need another player on overseas quota. And he offered him a trial. And he played in the Alliance team. He played in the reserves. I think it was the start of '89, or it might have been before. But he came down and he started and he played in the game. And he made 63 tackles. And I was like, what the hell? He's a tackling machine? What the hell's he doing? Now, not knowing to this, he also decided to join the schools. And I was doing the schools at the time with Darryl and Mark and Gamel and Terry and Tim Butcher, the other. And this Aussie came in, and next thing you know, his girlfriend, Ros, decided to be the secretary because Julie Bush, the secretary, was pregnant. So she had to go on maternity leave. So Ros was taking over. So all of a sudden that this happened. And this unknown Aussie started signing for Sheffield Eagles. Now, from the moment he signed for Sheffield Eagles, he became a really, really, really good friend. And his performances on the pitch was like, if Mick Cook got injured, he took over. And he played loose forward. And he played towards most of the season, he played at hooker because Cookie was injured at the time. I think Cookie had a broken wrist or a broken arm or a thumb or something. And he had his arm in a cast. But this Aussie could play out of his skin. And he became a valuable asset to Sheffield Eagles. Both on and off the pitch. Always wanting to do things off the club, made things people aware. He always trying to get development, trying to get new things. I remember going with the Peace Gardens in Sheffield before the first game in the first division, and we were trying to get people to come and join the club and be juniors, and we've got the photographs and all the kids. Second, it was amazing the work he did, getting banners put up around the Sheffield. Him and Nick Grimaldi and the wives went around Europe, and they almost went to the Berlin Wall as it was then, and nearly got deported. Remember that story? You'll have to ask him for that one. He was definitely an unknown. He played in the Premiership final. He played at third loose forward, number 13, and got a winner's medal and got his jersey, which I still want. I still want your jersey. And he really, really bought into the Sheffield way of thinking. Came into the first division and was mostly an ever-present. Was going to play scrum half when Mark Aston was injured, and he wasn't going to be playing against Leeds at Chesterfield. And there was talk that Warren, I've said it now, Warren Smiles. Warren was going to play scrum half, but he didn't need to, so he went back to scrum. He went back to loose forward, 13, until we played 7. Played against in the famous victory against Widnes. He always wore a scrum cap when the second division. He always wore that scrum cap, and he was taking it, and he was part of some of the most vital victories in that first part of the season. The victories against Featherstone, Barrow, Widnes, the draw against Salford at the Willows, played against Hull on Boxing Day, and most of the December matches when we lost against Bradford Northern, Wigan, St Helens, the first game, and things. And all this time, his Mrs. Ros was the secretary and being a wonderful person, and both of them was just magical. Roz even took part in the sponsored walk that they did from Sheffield to Featherstone to raise money for the club for the first home match, for the first game of the way of the season. So all the girls and everything wore the jerseys, and they went to. It's a great picture if you can find it. It's in the book, and it's got all the girls with big hair. It's great fun, but it's the 80s. Leave me alone. It's the 80s. Always kind enough to take me home from when we went to the pubs. I always used to buy him the copies of the Green and newspaper because you wanted to see about rugby league with Sheffield, and I always made sure that he had it. There was nobody better. He was one of my best friends at the time. He came back in '94 when we were playing the Aussies, and I gave him an Eagles jersey, and I always remember that. Kept in contact, sent letters to Australia, kept in contact. Keep in contact to this day via Twitter and Instagram. And Rim and Roz, and they're living over there in Australia, both of them together still to this day. Wonderful, wonderful people. Wonderful, wonderful memories. The only sad thing I remember is he's breaking his leg at Wakefield when we were playing Featherstone. Went in for the tackle and broke his leg, and then Gary decided that he wasn't going to offer Warren a contract again, and we signed. It was just at the time that we was announced that we was going to play at Don Valley Stadium, and Warren signed to replace him. We had Francis Leota and Tuara Nikau in the side at the time, and they signed and they replaced Jeff Hardy and Bruce Maguire. So the three Aussies we had in Australia in the first division for that year. For the start of the year, we started with Bruce Maguire, Jeff Hardy, and Warren Smiles. We ended it with Tuara Nikau and Francis Leota, who stayed with us to the end of March. My personal thing, we replaced Warren wrong. The guy that we replaced him with, Ian Russell, that came from Illawarra. No, sorry. No. Didn't work for me. Didn't look it for me. And Warren was happy at Sheffield Eagles. He was an amazing, amazing guy. Loved the club, did the lottery, everything. And then one day in 1990, he said, "What am I doing at the weekend?" And this is why I said, "Well, we've got some injury problems. Do you fancy playing for the Eagles?" And my jaw dropped. Because it'd been a dream of mine always to pull on an Eagles jersey. And 24 hours, I was a member of Sheffield Eagles. And then 24 hours later on the Friday, he told me on the Thursday he wanted me to play. And on the Friday I couldn't play because Derek Bridgman was making a comeback and he needed to play him instead. So for 24 hours I was an Eagles player. Beat that. Always had time for folks. Was an amazing guy. He's playing at hooker, looks forward, scrum half. You asked him to play fullback, he'd have played fullback. Amazing, amazing player. Personified Sheffield Eagles through and through. And there'll never be another one like him. And I always say, he was an unknown Aussie when he arrived, but he left an absolute bona fide Sheffield Eagles legend of all time. And he always has and always will be. Was her, you'll always will be, my man. We always look back on you and we always love you to bits and we think you're an amazing gentleman. And I hope you get a chance to watch this at some point. My love to Roz, my love to all your family and everything in Australia and everything. But you'll always be the unknown Aussie that turned out to be one of our greatest signings as an overseas player. People can talk about Sam Panapa, Mark Geyer, Cliff Lyons, all the people we've had, Brendan Lindsay, all these overseas wonderful people we've had. But my greatest Aussie, Warren Smiles, who made 63 tackles in the reserve game and became a bona fide Sheffield Eagles legend through and through. God bless you, Was. Love everything. This has been episode 11 of the Eagles Memories. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.